Today I'll be making yogurt from goat's milk. And I like to make about 3 quarts, 3-4 quarts, because that fits well in my oven. Which means that I need to have milk from multiple milkings, because I only get about half a gallon at a time. So I store my milk, not in empty milk containers, because we don't actually have those. But also because I don't want to reuse anything that had dairy before, but apple cider. It's nice and acidic, rinse them out well, maybe some sanitizer, and they're good to go. And then of course I have the milk straight from the goat. Nice and warm. So the trick with yogurt is that it's a live organism that we really want to feed well and incubate well. And one of the ways to do that is by helping milk partially break down. And we do that by heating it to 185 degrees, which is right around there. Which will take a while. So we'll put our culture somewhere safe. And now we'll have to wait for a bit until the milk gets to temperature. And you know how it goes. A watch pot doesn't boil, so we'll leave it in peace and check in later. So it's about half an hour later, and I've been occasionally stirring it, and we're at 150, 160, somewhere around there. So we're getting close, so we're not quite there yet. Now it's a matter of keeping an eye on it and whisking and making sure it doesn't scorch at the bottom. And that's about it. It's actually pretty simple all in all. So the milk is at around 185, 190 degrees. So it's perfect. It's 185 now. It was not 190 when I turned the heat off. It started foaming up, which is a sign you're getting close. Another sign when you need to start watching out is when it starts to evaporate. When there's visible evaporation with the steaming. That tends to be start to become visible at around 160. So then you know you're getting close. So the next step is to get my mittens and transfer it to cool down in a sink with ice water. And there we go. Now we're filling this with cold water, and I'm adding ice packs. Because you want to have it cool down to 90 as quick as you can. And I like to use the reusable ice packs for that. So we're already back down to 160. This goes quick. At least the first step goes quick. And then you get bored and walk away, and then suddenly it's too cold. So. It's looking good. Since I'm using small batches of raw milk, every once in a while I'll have a batch that is a little older than it should have, and the way I know is when it gets to that really hot stage, just at around boiling, it will shift. The solids will come out, and you'll see little flakes of proto cheese floating around. And when that happens, I don't make custard or yogurt with it. I just add a big swallow of vinegar, let it sit for a bit, and make cheese out of it. It makes fine cheese. I mean, that's what I was trying to do. And there we go. Oh, it's around at 100 degrees. I just looked and it was 90, but then I gave it a swish. That's back to 100, so we'll give it a little bit. There we are. Milk is at around 90, so now it's time to add. I'll take this out and add the starter. Here. Now we're adding the starter. I'm using the Stonyfield Organic. It doesn't really matter what you use as long as it is very natural and it has good active cultures to it. I found that some work a lot better than others. When I was using our store brand, I got very stringy yogurt, which we didn't like at all. So, and I found that the Stonyfield does well. So I add about half a container. I'm finding the more starter I use, like a nice generous amount of starter, will give me a thicker yogurt as well as heating. I can make yogurt without heating the milk, but because the heating partially breaks it down, the bacteria have a it's hard to talk while stirring at the same time. The bacteria have an easier job of thickening it. So definitely, if you don't have a way of heating, if it comes right out of the creature, you can add the culture and it'll still be yogurt, but it'll be a thinner yogurt. What you can do is let it sit and then pour the whey off to make a thicker yogurt, which is what Greek yogurt is. Or you can heat it. The heating also pasteurizes it, so you shouldn't have any cross-contamination with other bacteria that might be wanting to make something else. And now we are going to pour it into my jars. I like to use these large half-gallon jars and a canning funnel. And there it goes. I must say it's hard to pour with a tripod in the way, which is why I have to do everything sideways. But hey, if doing so helps someone else be able to make yogurt, then it's worth the one-time inconvenience. I'm sorry, I'm blocking the view. So, put the little left bit in. And then I get my lids. Make sure you pre-wash your jars very well. Like preparing mason jars for canning. They don't have to be completely sterile, but they should be as clean as you can make it. So hot water and soap would do. Some sterilizer from brewing would help, but something to make sure that there's no contamination in there. And we're almost done. And the very last step is the easiest one. You stick them in a incubator, or in this case an oven, which is not on. We close the door and then we turn the light on. And having the light on is just enough incubation heat for the yogurt to develop. And then tomorrow morning we should have yogurt ready to go. The next morning, and there is my yogurt. You can see at the edge. Can you sharpen up a little bit? Looks like it can't quite see it. But you see it's all bubbly. And that means that something definitely happened. So now we'll be shaking it up a bit. Ooh. And yes, something indeed did happen. It is actually nice and thick. That's the big question. Yep, look at that. My cereal even stays on top. Perfect. So we made cheap yogurt. So that's almost 2 gallons of yogurt for half a gallon, or for half a quart. 2 cups of store-bought yogurt. So that is about $2 and 2 gallons of milk. That's pretty good. And this is mostly goat as well, so it'll be much easier on the stomach.